Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Spoiler Alert, the show that sifts through the crap so you don't have to. This week I went to see The Killer Inside Me, a crime thriller and all-out disturbing film. I basically had no idea what the film was about, and I saw it in the cinema thinking it had slipped under my radar. Though it not being my favourite genre of film, I was intrigued. Mainly because I don't want to see Russell Crowe pretend to be an English hero who, for some reason, has a suspicious Irish accent. Anyway, the film is based on a book of the same title, which has apparently had attempts at telling the story through film before, yet has never seemed to quite work. Probably because in the last century it was quite hard to base a film on murder, violence and more sex offences than the Fritzels, when at the time the whole world was in the closet that these things even happened, or unless behind closed doors. Simpler times, when the man demanded a sandwich and it would be delivered. And if not, a quick brush with the back of the hand would ensure its swift delivery. This concept of supply and demand from husband to wife is a strong theme in the film. Sort of. The movie is seriously messed up, and on several occasions caused me to scratch my head and whisper "what the fuck" under my breath in the cinema. And to be honest, a lot of shit happens in the film, so I'm gonna have to run through the main story. The film starts with the protagonist, an all-round fucked up individual, Deputy Louis Ford. Ford is sent to scare a hooker out of town. The reason which you find out later is because a man called Conway, not the annoying Family Guy Conway Twitty jokes that no one really fucking cares about, but in this tale the biggest landowner and businessman in Texas. Anywho, Conway's son is sniffing around this hooker who says she isn't actually a hooker. Conway Jr. just gave her the money, but Ford demands she leaves town. He then threatens to prosecute her for prostitution. This is not taken lightly by our little harlot, as she slaps Ford a few dozen times in the face as he goes to leave. I would like to point out now that we're only 5 minutes into the film when we get to see Ford for what he really is, as he grabs hold of Joyce, the hooker, throws her to the bed, rips her underwear off, and spanks her ass for about as long as the film has already been playing for. The disturbing thing is that you actually get some sick sexual thrill from beating her ass so much that it glows as if she's a baboon in heat. As soon as Ford apologises and gets up to leave, Joyce grabs hold of him and they have sex right there and then. Like I said, simpler times, when a swift apology would get you in the sack of even the most beautiful women. So, Conway Jr. and Ford are both shagging this girl, but to be honest, if Jessica Alba was wanting to share a bed with me, I wouldn't be inclined to say no. This goes on for a while, despite Ford having a stable girlfriend, and when they both start confessing their love to Joyce, you know something bad is going to happen. The whole situation is exacerbated as we find out that Conway Sr. probably had something to do with the death of Ford's brother. After some more fucked up sex scenes and Ford beating up a bum, Ford decides to take revenge on Conway. He sets up a double homicide to kill Joyce and Jr. Ford, knowing that Jr. will be round Joyce's house later, goes around and smacks her about in a fucking brutal scene where he confesses his never-dying love for her whilst beating her in the face. Jr. walks in, so Conway shoots him with Joyce's gun and leaves the scene of the crime. After which he bumps into Conway Sr., who knows his son is going to be at Joyce's house. Joyce at this point, who's been beaten beyond recognition, is actually still alive. Ford is now being questioned by the DA for being in the area. And when he finally returns home to his girlfriend, who's been waiting up for him, a comical scene ensues in which he can taste another woman on him, if you know what I mean. To keep it under wraps that he's been sleeping with Joyce, he then proposes to the girl so that she would stop throwing a fucking hissy fit. The police fly Joyce out of Texas to another hospital, but we find out that she dies anyway. So, Ford beats up on his new fiancée like a Neanderthal in more fucked up, kinky, brutal shagfest to try and bring back the memory of Joyce, the woman he apparently loved, in a unique, yes you're beautiful, but I'm going to hit you in the face with this brick kind of way that only a true man can understand. We now find out why Ford is so fucked up, as we see flashbacks of him raping a younger girl when he was a kid, followed by a scene where his mother tells him she loves it when he hurts her. She then shows her 11-year-old son pictures of what daddy does to mommy, one of the what the fuck scenes I pre-mentioned. Now I have heard about keeping it in the family, but not in modern times, though I do suppose this is how George Bush is explained. Ford basically has to cover up his tracks and kills off a few more people, making one look like a suicide, and when the pre-mentioned bum happens to know all about the killing and tries to blackmail Ford, Ford stages another double homicide. When Ford's fiancée walks into the house and tells him she loves him, muscle man Ford beats the shit out of yet another girl, like the hard man he is. Ford kills her by kicking her in the back of the head, and then when the bum comes round he flees at the sight of the corpse. Ford then picks up a knife and gives chase, and all of a sudden some other policemen show up and end up shooting the bum where he stands. Because I am actually positive that that is protocol in Texas, I'm going to leave that alone. I'm sure it's everyone's favourite pastime, shoot the homeless. Ford is still a prime suspect and eventually gets admitted to a psych ward in hopes to break him, which doesn't actually happen. Then a mysterious character who keeps showing up throughout the film that I haven't actually mentioned shows up and takes Ford back home. Ford basically spills every grueling little secret to this man and then goes into his house, pouring petrol and other flammable liquids around. At this point the police surround the house and the DA, Conway and Joyce, yes Joyce, the hooker who turns out is not dead, enter the house. Ford, smoking a cigar, hides a knife and stabs Joyce in the stomach, drops the cigar on the floor, setting the house on fire, but it actually causes a massive explosion like a firework factory being set on fire. The end. It is quite an anticlimactic ending, with the only real twist being that Joyce is still alive, and with worse CGI than Jason and the fucking Argonauts. Though I don't usually like this sort of film, a few days after watching it I still don't know what to make of it, honestly. I can't stress enough that this is not my sort of film. I was honestly sat halfway through twiddling my thumbs thinking, my god, why haven't they caught this guy yet? Or I was honestly cringing at the blatant retarded characteristics portrayed to help the plot development, using tools such as the mysterious man and the bum. And the protagonist is as fucked up in the head as the pre-mentioned Fritzl family, though if you don't expect guns and violence in an action film, then this is your best bet. Even if the film is riddled with sex scenes and the beating of wives, it is a good watch. Though do be warned, it will make you feel dirtier than an 8-year-old hooker whose incontinence pants have just gave way midway through a lap dance. But I'm a creep.